Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Sweet Talks podcast. My name is Chantal.
Hi, I'm Nakima.
Yeah.
Cool, yo. So today we're going to be talking about having relationships with vulnerable people. This was kind of in line with the whole entanglement fiasco that went down between Jada and Will and August. Um, Obviously, none of us actually know the full story, but it's just through some of the things that have been said that slightly concerning for me as a therapist. I don't know about these guys, but there were some things that just kind of threw up a few red
Yep,
flags on the red table. Let's put it that way.
me too.
So yeah, I don't know who wants to start. I can start.
Yeah, I think it'd be
Yeah.
good for you to start. Yeah.
So one of the things that we've already spoken about, but I found to be quite disturbing about this whole thing is that Jada and Will were kind of in a position of trust and support for this guy. Um, and then somehow it became a sexual relationship. Now, I don't know if it happened straight away, if it happened over a number of years, but there's something that's slightly messy about that. And I don't know if it's just like my inner therapist that's like, no, or if it's like, I don't know if it's just like, I don't know what it is, but something about it just doesn't sit right. Because I know that once we deal with vulnerable people, like there are rules and regulations as to how we can treat them and how we are with them. And I think even outside of our professions, if we were dealing with people who were vulnerable, like having a relationship with that person would be regulated, I guess, self-regulated. Like you'd have to put yourself into check. Like, are these emotions really because I feel this for this person, or is it because I'm just helping them through? So we have
Mhm.
quite a lot of time together. So I've made an emotional bond with this person. And I think the thing that trips me up a little bit about that as well with the red table situation, so I'm going to refer to it from now on. I'm going to refer to it as the entanglement situation or the red table situation, is that when Jada was speaking, she was like, "Oh, she just hadn't felt good for a long time." So then that kind of makes you a selfish participant in that relationship. And I'm not saying that you don't have relationships to fulfill your own needs at times, but there's something slightly off about that. Like you helped this young man to try and get back on track with his mental health and his emotional well-being and so on and so forth. And now you're using him to fulfill your own psychological needs. Does that make sense?
Yep, it absolutely does. And it sounds from what you're saying, she was vulnerable, he was vulnerable, but she didn't realize her vulnerability.
Yeah, I think she was slightly blindsided by her own
She
vulnerability.
didn't realize her vulnerability. At the point of that person coming into their lives, were they together, her and her
Well,
husband? And
well,
if they wasn't,
even if they weren't, there's still a slight problem because
whether it is or not, there is a slight
yeah,
problem.
yeah,
There's a big problem. No slight. It's grooming. It looks like grooming.
like grooming. It does look, yeah, and that's part of my worry is that like you've created almost like another motherly figure role to someone who's, I think he lost his mum in it, like
I believe so.
mum and his brother died, as far as I'm aware anyway, from what I read. If
Oh, sorry. You talking about August?
Yeah, August.
Yeah. He lost. Yeah. I
Yeah,
thought
he
you
lost
talking
his mum
about
and his
Sorry.
brother, and he was in a really low place. So now you've kind of come in as a surrogate mother, but now you've tainted that role at the same time. And I think there's just something slightly off about that.
Slightly.
That's how I feel
All the
about
way
it.
off about that.
That's how I feel about it. Like I feel like I can see both like perspectives, and I can see that like she said in the like she said on the Red Table Talks is that she was going through a lot. Her and Will were separated at the time.
Mm-hmm.
They were going through a lot. She hadn't felt happy. All these great things, and so I can understand that she might have been looking for a companion or looking for emotional support or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at the flip
Just
side,
looked in the wrong place.
but on the flip side, like you said, initially 4 years ago when you met this young man, you were essentially a mother figure.
Yeah.
He was very vulnerable. He was an addict. You know, he's bereaved and all those things. So I think when she did come into his life, I think there was a certain role that she was there to play.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that role was?
Like
That
a mother,
motherly
like
role,
a
you're
mother, yeah,
saying?
yeah. Him then assumingly, him then falling in love with her, probably, or even being attracted to her prior to them having sex.
Mm.
To me, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole role and dynamics of the therapist and the client. I get it 1,000%. It makes sense. You know, you're sharing your whole world with this person, especially as you're the vulnerable person. He's the vulnerable person. You know, is an addict, and all these things are happening to him, and he's feeling this, and he's probably not able to process it, and blah 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 blah. Not only that, you're still in the music industry, so you're still having to sell your records and whatever you're doing. So, I can understand how they might have from that built a connection. I can understand why from that they may have felt attracted to each other because both people are missing
Yeah.
certain things in their lives. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
However, the issue is on one hand, if it was Will and a 24-year-old girl, it
Well.
would be absolute uproar. That's the first thing.
Mm.
Second, second thing is for me, he's an addict. So at that time, he doesn't have the capacity to be able to necessarily rationalize whether this is morally right or wrong. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever the case is. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I feel like she knowingly or unknowingly took advantage of that. You knew as much as we knew. You knew that he was an addict at least. At minimum, you knew that.
Mm-hmm.
You knew his family were deceased or whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
You knew he was having a very difficult time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that you knew he was somewhat attracted to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you then still decided to continue with that. You also know your own situation. You know that you're separated. Whatever morals that you live by, I'm guessing that you and Will. Well, you said before how many years ago that you're in an open relationship anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I mean. So it's kind of like, you know, and again, and like you said, it would have been like a grooming situation because you've taken this person. If it was the other way, if it was Will, you've taken this young girl under your wing. She's young. She's got no family. She's left to look after. She's left. Like August is left to look after his brother who died's children.
Yeah.
You know, he's 24.
How did they die, if you don't mind me asking?
I
Do you
don't
know?
know. I don't know. But I know that August has kidney disease, so he's not well either. Do you know what I mean? So you got all these. This person goes through all this trauma, and then they meet somebody. Like I'm saying, this is from the hypothetical. If this was Will, right?
Yeah.
You meet this young lady for however, I guess through the industry,
Mm.
and then you take her into your family, and you tell her all the help that you're going to provide for her. I'm not saying that you didn't, because you probably did. You probably did do all these things for her, but yet and still, you still felt like it was appropriate to then get involved with this person romantically.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And I think there's something, I don't know, I think like there's definitely like a huge power imbalance there as well. So, and I'm not saying that she did it on purpose, because it could be something that's not.
Yeah, it just happened.
Hmm?
Like it just happened.
Yeah, I'm not saying not that it was done on purpose, like in the sense of utilizing her power is what I mean over. But the fact is, if these people are like providing your roof over your head, paying your way, basically giving you food, paying for your therapy, like if that's happening, and then the person wants to start a relationship with you, how likely? I mean, we already know that there's it happens to women, and for some reason now it's happened to a guy. People aren't really computing it the same. Like if you're in that situation where someone's providing all these different things for you, sometimes they can feel like, not that he wasn't attracted to her because she's a beautiful woman, but sometimes you can feel almost obligated when you are in that kind of power imbalance to do things that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise done. Because at the same time, it's your brethren's mum, it's your friend's mum. Do you get what I mean? So him and Jaden were actually friends. Jaden was the one that brought him to his
Wow.
parents. So, and usually there are rules about that. I know that we there's like the, what's it called, Mrs. Jones kind of whatever fetish that some people have, but it's very rare that people will act on that. And I think that slightly sits.
You know, another thing, Chantal, this is not abnormal. We
Mm.
know about this all the time from both genders. Um, you know, about you know, older women doing it to younger boys, and older men doing it to young girls. It's been happening, but I think with this, it's just because Will and Jada are looked at and put on a pedestal, and they're looked at like role models, and they're looked at to have like the best marriage and the best relationship.
Yeah.
It was highlighted, you know what I mean?
Mm.
And then also that's their reputation, and then August has a reputation of R&B singer, you know, romantic and all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
Probably a bit charismatic and all that, but at the same time he's dealing with a disease. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
effectively he's not well. So you've got that. Do you know what I mean? This person is vulnerable.
Yeah.
What drugs was he taking, or was it you don't know?
I don't know if it was like a cocktail or if he just upgraded from one to the other. But
Or whether it was prescribed, or
No, it wasn't prescribed. It was
was
like you just using drugs.
yeah,
Well, at least that's what I think.
as far as I'm aware. We can check that out. But yeah, so what would you guys, I think if this was a client in front of you and they told you that this
which
stuff,
one, Jada or
well, let's
August?
go with both of them. All right, let's say that let's go with August first. If you had August as a client in front of you, and he said, "Oh yeah, I ended up having sex with this woman who is in an open marriage, but
But he
she
gave his life
said that
for
again,
that relationship.
said that again."
I saw him say something. Sorry,
Sorry, go on.
that's all right. I thought he said something like he gave his life, so it wasn't just that he slept with. He kind
Yeah,
of gave his life for this
Yeah.
situation.
Because he was in love with her. He was
Sorry.
absolutely. He was in love with her. He was absolutely besotted by her. And for her, he was just something that an itch that needed to be scratched. That's what makes it even worse. Do you know what I mean? Because he was actually really in love with her, or at least that's what he says. Well, and he also said like he's willing to die for her. Do you know what I mean? So
That's love right there.
but I think if it was a client, I think for me the major thing is that his over age, and that would have been my concern initially. But when it happened, he was above age. He was legal. So in that sense, there's not much that we can do with that. I'll still be concerned because he was still vulnerable. So as a vulnerable person, I guess we'd just talk through it, wouldn't we? We'd go through the basics right through to the most complicated part, and I guess with them would, you know, I mean, I don't know if he's received any actual professional treatment for his drugs. Maybe we would like refer him onto that, but
I think that's some of the things that they helped him with, and it was Percocet that he was addicted to.
Okay, great. So at least we've got support with that, and I know he's off it now, but at least he's got that kind of got himself together in that sense. But I suppose we just talk about it and the trauma that goes on with that, and not only that, being embarrassed, because if 4 years ago when he mentioned it, no one believed him, and he was embarrassed. And it's kind of like, oh, you're just some little boy that's holding on to. Do you know what I mean? And that's traumatizing. And now it's probably like overload. Whatever's happened to him now is overload. You know what I mean? And also to find out on Red Temple Talks that she says, I mean, she didn't say this verbatim, but pretty much he was just something that made me feel good. To be reduced just to that
That's it.
It was just something that made me feel good. And mind you, this man is about to walk out the road and just lie down in the middle of the street.
Ay.
You know what I mean?
That's the thing as well, because when he's saying that, oh, I gave my all to that relationship, and I think there's that huge disparity as well, which again kind of set my alarm bells off. That he's like, I gave my all to this relationship, and she's like you said, she was talking about it more like a scratch that needed itching because she weren't getting it from, I don't know if it was because she weren't getting it from her husband or whatever, but she kind of talked
She
about it.
wasn't getting some sort of fulfillment.
Whatever the fulfillment was, whatever.
And you know what? Another thing is, it just come to me because I was talking about this with my friends,
Mm-hmm.
and the joke is, after all that, she's gonna go home, turn on her TV, get in her bed with her husband,
And sleep. Same
and
thing.
feel no way.
Yeah.
And if she does feel away, it don't matter because we was right next to her anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So do you know what I mean? Or there'll be, number, I don't know, whatever, knocking on the door tomorrow, Monday morning.
Yeah.
Ready to fulfill his job in that. Do you know what I mean? So it's just essentially you're just a number, and that's not what she said, but that's just kind of how it came across to me, or at least how I took it. It's kind of like, okay, there's an itch that needs you. Sorry, there was an itch that needs to be scratched. She scratched it for you. You're gonna go back to your husband, and your life is gonna continue. Whereas now August is gonna be forever known as like your spy piece or your boy toy, or you know what I mean? Like you'll just reduce that. I mean, the good thing is that his album might soar through the roof now because it's got all this publicity.
True.
But other than that, it's just.
Yeah, I think, yeah, but again, that's still that disparity, and I get what you're saying. Like she gets to curl up with her husband, kind of thing. But I think that also, like, when it comes to an open marriage, if that's what they have, but definitely at that point, she was definitely opening up something. Like that, it needs to be, it needs to be clarified as to where you're at. So even if it says like, oh, we feel like we're done, I think it's kind of harsh to give the person you're inviting into the open relationship false hope in essence, because if
You
you
leave
know
the
that
mum.
say it again.
You leave them the mum.
Yeah, because if you know in a sense that at some point it's gonna end, like it will end because I will always be with my husband, kind of thing. And I know they said at that point they felt like they were done with each other, but
Yeah.
still you're trying to work stuff out. But if you're trying to work stuff out, did you let that other partner know that you've now brought alongside you? And if you
I mean,
didn't,
she could have. You could have let him know, and he might have been holding on. You know what I mean? I don't know.
well, it's possible. But she was like, nah, he just cut her off in it. So that
Yeah, that's true.
actions that she said and what he's saying, that I'm kind of like filling in the middle, because
Hang on, who cut who off?
August
all the
cut her off.
Jada.
Which
So
I thought was very good of it. I thought that was very good of him. And maybe when he went to his rehab, maybe that's one of the things that they spoke about at AA, about being dependent on people, on a person, and told him to.
they did. Maybe it's possible. It's very possible that that's something that they told him. And if they did, then God bless him for doing it, because he might have been in a lot more pain, and it could have actually hindered his recovery. Because if he became dependent on her and then she goes, then that could have set him back to whatever. And thank goodness, hopefully that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Just because of the effects that obviously emotions can take on
Mm.
or a recovering addict in general. But yeah, what would you guys do if Jada was your client? Like, how would you address Jada?
We have to just treat it like any other client, don't we? We're not passing any judgment. We just want to
Of
know,
course.
okay, what happened? What made you connect with this person? Do you know what I mean? What about him made you connect with him, opposed to kind of reconnecting with your partner,
Yeah.
your husband, or whatever? I don't know. You just, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Nakima, what would you do if Jada was your client?
I'd ask her what her goals are. What does she need from therapy? What does she need? What is her? Yeah, that would be where
It's
we'd start off.
DBT.
And
People would be like,
yeah,
why
yeah.
the hell did you sleep with August?
Like, girl, what wrong with you? No, I'm joking.
I
Go
would
on.
I'd
That's a
sarcastically
joke,
ask
by
her
the way. She
question.
wouldn't do that.
You Socratically
Yeah,
kept questioner, did you say?
I'd sarcastically question her to find out, you know, yeah, the
Yeah.
root of some things. But I have to understand first and foremost is that she's probably more vulnerable than he is.
Possible.
Probably more vulnerable than he is. I'm not
Possible,
just like dismissing his loss, bereavement. Well, yeah,
Mm.
but you don't. What in this story we don't know much about her mindset and her mind frame.
Mm.
There's
Not
some
been talked
clues
about.
though, but we'll go into that in a minute. Go on.
There is.
Yeah, there's a couple of clues, mate.
There is definitely clues, and that's what it is. Whereas with August, you knew what time it was. Bereavement.
Very true.
Boom, boom,
Very
boom.
true. Very
Her, you don't know nothing, and you've got fantastic skills to probably look between lines of certain things said, shown, done.
Yeah.
Whereas the average person who look up to them, because Rihanna said that earlier, and it's a very key point. A lot of people look up to them as a couple, as a power couple, and research is a thing. Research is a thing. Find out who your role models really are. You know what I mean? Or take what you need to take from what role models you have. Any good people do bad things.
Again, that is true. That is very true.
The case, take the good from that.
Mm.
And yeah, that's all I've got to say on that.
Yeah, I hear that.
My business.
I hear that. I think I would have to hear her experience first about the whole thing, and then start to maybe. Sorry, this is a psychologist in me now. That's like I would have to formulate her in my head. So like things about her conditions of worth. What things does she think, makes her a valuable person? How has she now projected that onto the situation? How has she interjected that onto the situation? How has she maybe misrepresented or misunderstood the situation from that perspective? And then look at that and then see kind of like what things was it that she felt like she was missing. So when she said, okay, she just wanted to feel good, but what did you want to feel good about? Did you want to feel good about yourself? Did you want to feel good internally? Did you want to feel loved? Did you want to feel desired? Did you want to feel like someone was around you? What was that feel good about? Like,
because that can be a drug, can't it?
Of course it can. Oxytocin is a hell of a neurotransmitter. It's a hell of a neurotransmitter.
Rihanna said something earlier about if it was the other way around.
Yeah.
And he would have given Will a hard time. But because it's Jada, I think that she gets a little bit away with it because females are seen to be this innocent. I didn't know what I was doing. More so than men do, I don't know, at times, I don't know, I could be wrong. I'm saying let's hold her to account because, she's in the public eye. That's part of her role, you know what I mean? Also, not when we do hold people to account, we just understand what it is. This is what it is.
Yeah.
We're not saying that she's perfect. We need to stop if we are saying that she's perfect or they are, and just take it to what it is. Not judging them both vulnerable. I think Jada's very vulnerable right now.
Right now, yeah. I think the whole world's kind of taking the mick. I ain't gonna lie, I am included in that because I have abused the word entanglement over the last week like nobody's business.
We all have, but the reason is because when she said the word entanglement, no one expected her to say that word entanglement. We thought of every other word. When she started speaking, I thought she was going to say accountability or responsibility. That's what I was going to say.
So did I. I ain't going to lie.
So when she said entanglement, I said, entangle what? Why? You know what I mean? Like, why would you think of that word?
Yeah.
And I think on top of that, by using the word entanglement, it kind of allows you to then get out of taking responsibility or accountability, or at least it kind of
distances you from it.
Yeah, like just ever so slight sort of thing. So
so I'm not gonna
right,
go
at the end of the day. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, I agree with what the human said. At the end of the day, she's a person. She makes mistakes. 100%. And she might be absolutely just beside herself right now. Do you know what I mean? We really don't know. But again, we're just going with, although it's funny in certain contexts and sentences, it's hilarious because you know what? It's a word that fits 2020. If you think about all the BS that's happened
in 2020,
that entanglement fits everything, and all the other situations and scandals where people are cheating and this has happened and this has happened and you got yourself into a situationship or whatever the case is. People are now using the word entanglement to describe that. Do you know what I mean? But entanglement fits so perfectly in everything, and as we even just saying the word, all of us start to giggle and laugh because either one of us has been one or all of us have been in entanglement, or in whatever shape or form, whether friendship wise or whatever.
Yeah.
Or we know someone who's been in entanglement, and that word just solidifies everything.
It really does. I can't lie.
Yeah, but I think more importantly, I know I can. Normally, I won't say things like this. I can categorically declare that nobody in the world thought she was in entanglement. That's not.
Nobody did. I can't. Listen, I can't lie. I don't even think Will did, because even Will was like, entanglement.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
She didn't know she was going to say that until she said it.
No, she did not, because
who knows?
She took a pause and then she said it. She didn't know what she was going to say. She just said it.
You know, the thing is though, I think this is my one thing. I think that again, that kind of poses an issue, and again, it's that thing about accountability and responsibility. Is actually that word choice. Even though she said it, and the fact that she paused means that she actually thought about it. She was like, I don't want to say relationship. I don't want to say, like, you know, got my free con. I don't want to say situationship. I don't want to say, you know, dig out my belly button.
She didn't want to say that she was cheating, because Will even said to her, you know, can't remember what he said, but she almost like he was trying to say to her, you mean cheating? But she wasn't going to say that.
She wasn't going to. She was looking for any other word. And then when she said entanglement, I was like, why does girl make it sound like she tied her shoes wrong? Or like she got stuck in like some skipping ropes, like some girls were skipping down the road and she accidentally got caught in the skipping rope. I don't know why she did that.
It was like Charlotte's Web, isn't it?
Yeah, or by Charlotte's Web, like she's just walking by, reading a book, and she got entangled into Charlotte's Web just like that.
Can I ask?
Spider's Web, like.
I want to ask you, Chantal, do you think she was cheating? What she did, was it classed as cheating?
If they had an open relationship and if they were truly done, I'm going to say she had an extramarital affair. I don't know if it's cheating or not, because it depends on what their setup is. But it was definitely an extramarital curriculum, something that was going on.
Curricular activity.
Yeah, it was extra marital curricular activities going on. That's all that can be said for that. I can't really speak on what their relationships were actually doing. The only thing I'm trying to do is break down what my girl was saying and doing on that red table. But I think what is kind of evident as well, though, and I don't know if it's because it's to do with their brand or whatever else. And if it's to do with their brand, I ain't trying to step on nobody's money, so do what you're doing. But like, the fact that she tried to distance herself from it, even though she's in it, she's still trying to distance herself from it by using that word. It's a purposeful word she used. So if you're trying to distance yourself from it and you're therefore not accepting responsibility, what is the whole point of your show? Like, the whole red table needs to break and divide and set on fire and use for the 4th of July. Because really,
I saw the advert. When I saw the advert for her bringing herself to the red table, I was like, oh, come on, have a laugh.
Right. That's like me when I did something wrong when I was a kid and said, you know what, Dad, I'm going to set my own punishment. I'm going to
have some sweets, please.
Without dessert.
You know what it is as well? It's when you do something wrong as a kid and then you say, I'm going to go to my room and think about what I've done.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Because, like we said, like we already know, it's the shortest Red Table Talks that they ever did. And she was not being held to account for anything. And I know that Will's not going to want to rake his wife over the coals. And that's fine. No. But at the same time, your whole table was about trying to bring people and their viewpoints to account. Now, you can't bring yourself to account. Your husband can't bring you to account. Then what was the point in doing it? Like, you might as well have just had a press release. Like, I had an entire...
You know what the point was? Is to get Webster's dictionary words to add more description to the word entanglement. That's what it was. Can you imagine?
Is it even a word? It's not even a word, is it?
Obviously. It is a word.
It is a word.
It's a word.
It is a word. Remember, to be entangled is to be caught up in something, which literally she is. So next to the word entanglement in that diary, they're going to put cheating, relationship, whatever. What
Jada said.
Basically. Oh my gosh.
I'm going to update the dictionary. Probably this.
They're going to have to.
Nah,
Do you know there's so many words that have been used like in the pop culture that they've had to add into the dictionary.
I know.
Like on fleek, like those things. Like
I know.
So this will be just one of them that they've just add to it.
Yeah, I feel like they need to add some extra definitions to the word entanglement now. I just think.
So, Brianna, same question to you. Do you think that he was cheating?
I think it's being a person that believes in God. By that standard, it would be cheating, because although they said they were separated, for us or for me married. Even, you're still married. So it would be cheating. However, I do believe that if you agree on something, then it is what it is. So if they had a conversation about their marriage being open, I guess everybody was okay with that. You know, I don't know whether and this, before the recording started, I said this already, so I'll just say it again. I don't know whether we will agree that they can have an open marriage, or we'll agree that can have an open marriage and you can sleep with all themselves. You know, I think that's two different things. But I think two things can be true. They can have agreed to have an open marriage, and I also believe that by other people's standards that would be cheating. However, is that any of my business? No. Exactly. Would I do that? Yeah. Would I do that at this point? I won't ever say never, because I don't want to say never and then turn around and I'm in entanglement. But I will say, at this point in my life, I wouldn't do that personally. Like, I feel like if you're separated, you're still married until you're not married anymore, until you actually divorce. Yeah. But I understand if at that point they both agree that they're separated and to move on with their lives. I get it, because I know that in some I don't know about here in the UK, but I know in some countries before you can even get divorced, you have to be separated for minimum a year.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? So what am I supposed to just sit down for a year? I get that people want to move on and start dating. So I mean, that's just my opinion. Like, it's not set in stone, and at the end of the day, you do what you want to do, and as long as it works for you guys, and as long as everybody's in agreement and no one's hurt, it's fine. But I think with this, people are hurt. People are very hurt, and people are very confused by the wordage.
We didn't even talk about Will and his mental health.
Personally, I don't know if you have, for those of you that are listening to us or watching us and you haven't watched the video, I would suggest watching the video. I personally feel that Will is very embarrassed. I feel like I was literally watching his face the whole time. He looked like he was 2 seconds away from crying. He looked so embarrassed. He looked like he wanted to raise her up, but he's not going to do that. So, Will just looks so, like, I went on Instagram after that, and I saw the picture of Will in what is that movie? So a picture of Will now, and a picture in that interview, and a picture of Will in that movie with his son. I can't remember what the movie's called.
Yeah.
Pursuit of Happiness, yeah. And they said that it's the same facial expression, but they were just showing, and it was so funny because it was so true. Like, he just looked the same, like the same kind of defeat, the same kind of hurt, the same kind of brokenness in that movie that he portrayed as pretending to be somebody. He looked exactly like that in real life. So I think he's fine. I think he's embarrassed, but I think all of them are.
Yeah.
What about you, Nikima? What do you think?
After careful consideration from what you two have said, I agree. If they were separated, mutual agreement, they know they were dating other people, and that's their business. And if she did it and they didn't have a conversation, that's still their business. But that would be probably considered as being deceitful. I think if you're gonna be with another person and you're still married, there has to be that conversation.
100%.
Has to. What we've seen, I'm not sure if that conversation was had.
It doesn't appear. Yeah, it doesn't appear so. I mean, they may have had several conversations, and maybe it's just that he was holding on to high hopes. Who knows? But I don't know. I mean, he didn't. I don't know why. Because she says as well, like she understands why he locked her off and all that stuff. I'm like, that don't sound like a conversation was had to me. Doesn't mean that there wasn't one.
He understands why she locked him off.
She understands why he locked her off. So basically why he just stopped talking, because she was like, that's okay, I understand, it was perfectly fine. You know, I get it. You know, like
she's talking about August.
Yeah, she's talking about August.
Sorry? Okay.
She's saying she understands why August locked her off when she was talking about going back to her husband. But then again, this is my thing. Why involve a vulnerable person, even though she might be vulnerable in herself because of how she's feeling? But why involve a vulnerable person into a volatile situation? You don't know which way it's going to go.
No.
That's the part that I'm like,
through.
Choice. And also, let's not forget, responsibility has to be taken by August. He knew what he's getting himself into. You knew that the lady was married. At minimum, she's married. You knew that much.
True.
You know, you knew that she got kids.
It sounded like he wanted to be with her, be in a relationship for life.
Yeah, of course. But he also sounded like he was willing to deal with the fact that she's still married. So, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, all three people had choices in that scenario.
But again, I know what you're saying, that she is married. Not even was, she is married. But from his interview, it sounds as though he expects it to be a long-standing relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
So even though
she was also married in this long-standing relationship, so
I know. Listen, it's different strokes for different folks. Different folks in it. So definitely. Even if she's married, there shouldn't really be. This is the thing as well. So if she's married, there shouldn't have been a problem, because if they've got an open marriage, then there shouldn't have been a problem with them staying together. Surely.
Right. And not only that,
something else was going on.
Yeah. Not only that, if it's an open marriage and everybody's agreed, why is the issue if he then comes out and says, I'm in a relationship with Jada? Why is he upset? Do you know what I mean? So
and again,
because
I think
it's Jada, and I don't want people to know.
Yeah, she must not.
I mean, it was nobody's business anyway. We're just taking fast right now.
No,
I mean, it was just that, like, the fact that it got spoken about. I don't know. There's just a lot of. I think the whole thing has raised more questions than it has answered. I can't lie, and I think you're right in terms of like Will feeling embarrassed, because his face throughout the whole thing is like, effectively, if I could read his face, this is what his face would be saying. I'm having to do this thing for PR, you know, blouse and skirt. I just don't even really want to be doing this right now. Why the hell you can't keep your man them under check, Jada? Why can't you keep people them mouth closed? Right? None of my people them come out if I have people them. Like, you're all of you. Why he have to come out with all of this? Now we gotta be teaching people about foolishness. I love you and I will always love you, but mighty God, man, keep people them in check. That's what his face looked like.
Basically.
That is exactly what his face looked like.
But you know what? Nobody as far as I know, as long as I've been a human, nobody wants to be a secret.
It's very true. It's very true. Especially if you feel like
exactly. I saw on Twitter today, somebody said on Twitter today, me and my man will always keep our relationship private, but he would never be a secret. There's a difference between being private and being secretive.
Yeah, true.
The difference between privacy and secrecy.
Yeah.
And I was like, there we go.
Very true.
But maybe he felt like he was a secret. I don't know.
I think he was, because there was flat out denial that he was even with her.
Yeah, so even 4 years ago, this whole thing.
Yeah. So like I think that you're probably right with that. That you could feel a certain level of insignificance around that too.
And especially if he loved her the way he said it, he wants to be on an arm. He wants to show her off. He wants, you know what I mean? He wants that whole. He wants the husband privileges.
And the thing is that he had her on her arm. They were out in public, whatever else. So it was like they were doing the secrecy, but not the privacy.
Yeah, but then she would deny it. So they'll go out and she would, oh, he's just my friend or whatever. Yeah. So she would not give him the title. But she can't give a title. She's married.
Which is true, and it ruins their reputations. So, or not ruins, but I don't think it's ruined anything. To be fair, I think
but like you said, people see them on a pedestal. People see Will and think Jada. People see Jada and think Will. They're together. Do you know? It's just to have Will, Jada, and also August in between it. Not quite.
Yeah, damn.
So many memes. It's just.
Oh gosh.
Hello.
You guys see my Entangled meme? Did you guys see that?
Is that the one with
of the Disney, like a Disney kind of?
Yeah, isn't the movie Tangled or something like that?
Yeah, the movie's called Tangled, but there's a different one. It's a remixed version called Entangled.
That's hilarious.
This word is going to be just life, literally life.
I said the way that I have weaved that word into several sentences throughout the week. Everything.
Over the weekend, I was saying.
Say that again.
Over the weekend, I was just saying entanglement in anything and everything.
I told people, go and get an entanglement with water. Go and have an entanglement with a book. I have told people to be entangled in so many different ways. It's not even funny. Someone said to me they had hay fever, and I said, go get entangled with Benadryl. Like, there's just a whole... I have anything. That word, I can't lie.
What's the entanglement, man?
Yes, I told people if they need to wash, you need an entanglement with water. Please have an entanglement with water.
Wow, man. I mean, we laugh about it, but it is mental health nonetheless.
Yeah,
and what annoys me about the whole thing, no one's spoken about mental health.
That's my thing. And there's another part actually that Jada starts talking about, and she's saying that she didn't realize her own trauma. But then my thing is, okay, so now you've acted from a place of trauma. You've got into a relationship with someone. No, you've tried to help someone who has trauma without dealing with your own trauma. But you're consistently putting people on this red table who have trauma. But have you dealt with your trauma? Have you actually gone through your
12 minutes of it? I don't think so.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
And not only that, then when you're interviewing these people, you're then re-traumatizing yourself with whatever they're saying.
Exactly.
And you're taking it on, do you know what I mean? And you're not, from what we know, you're not in therapy, you're not doing anything about it. So it is difficult. And then when they ended the little interview, they ended it saying that they're going to have the worst marriage for life.
Yeah, bad marriage for life.
Bad marriage for life. So.
I know it was a play on the but I was like, okay.
It was a play on bad boys, definitely, but
yeah, it was, but it was still like, okay. And the thing is, I like the fact that they appear solid. I do like that. Yeah. However,
you're not his friend.
Yeah, I do like that, but I think that there definitely needs to be, not that saying that because we don't know if she has or not, but definitely hurt people seek out hurt people. Yeah, either hurt people or they seek out hurt people. So that might even be another thing that drew her to August.
Yeah, rescue.
Rather than anybody else.
It's Captain Saver.
Yeah.
Person.
And that's the other thing as well. Like, some people deal with their trauma by trying to fix somebody else's.
Yeah.
And
it's rescuing.
If she hasn't dealt with her own trauma, like you said, she can re-traumatize herself. make her own trauma worse. But not only that, she could probably push on parts of her trauma without realizing it. She wouldn't know. Like push parts of her trauma onto this person and now put them into a worse position.
Exactly.
Or make them feel completely dependent on her.
Exactly. It's that God/savior mentality, that rescuing mentality. Yeah.
Can I ask, what was the last bit that she said about the marriage again? Remind me what that was.
What did she say about the marriage?
Should we ride together or die together? Something.
Oh yeah, we ride together, we die together. Bad marriage for life. That's what it was.
Because obviously it's from Bad Boys. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, it's from Bad Boys, isn't it? Like we ride together.
But bad marriage for life.
Yeah, because that's what they're saying.
Word sound. Is that what they said on them Bad Boys, or did they say Bad Boys for life?
They said Bad Boys for life. They said Bad Boys for life. Yeah, but
I agree, Nikki, because you're putting that out there, so into the atmosphere.
What are you manifesting? And you've got role models, or you're a role model?
Well, this is it, and I think that's the other thing that slightly worried me too. Like you're saying, like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna have a bad marriage, or you could just work through your problems. You do know that, innit? Like that is an option. That is also an option. Like let's see what the problems are, and let's work those bad boys out. And guess what?
That's one of the reasons why I'm not keen on Jada. I'm just not keen. I've not been keen for a very long time.
Oh, okay.
Well, I feel the same way, but I don't know that. So. Whatever.
I don't really follow her really, but seeing this lately, I'm just everywhere. She's everywhere now. She
is everywhere now, but I think that I definitely can't listen to the Red Table Talk. I mean, I didn't always listen to it anyway. There's a couple that I did. But like, yeah, I don't think there's any. I don't know. I think that last Red Table Talks may have ruined Red Table Talks for the rest of them. I don't think that.
Yeah, I agree.
And again, it's not even because of the open relationship. I think it's because of the
principle, isn't it?
The principle, how it was handled. And I think because the Red Table Talk, she almost kind of presents herself as some sort of guru, like she knows everything.
Like want to be selfish.
Yeah, and then at the same time, like you got all your stuff that you need to deal with, fam. You need to like go to the red table, like properly go to the red table.
What do they say when you get on an airplane and you're about to fly off?
Yeah, they say you need to make sure you put yourself in your mask and all of them something there before you try and put something else. And it's true.
You cannot save somebody if you're dead.
It's true.
Come on now. It's very true. I saw a meme because I seen her with this turban thing on her head.
Yeah.
And there's a film called which one is it? Is it To America? Anyway, an Eddie Murphy film where this one woman was saying in the film that she's got no panties on. And she wears a turban just like her.
Oh God.
Listen.
It might be coming to America when they're in the bar.
Yeah. The amount of memes.
Yeah, it is coming.
What was the other one? Jade, July is in the month about August.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You just skipped on through to August. You went straight through July and went straight over to August. Yeah, people, you know what? The internet has no chill. The internet has no chill whatsoever.
The comedians are awesome up there, but it's none of my business. I'll just sit my tea in my drink.
That is very true. None of our business.
But we need to talk about it because of these mental health issues that it comes like clear, blatant. A lot of them have it. And I'm glad we brought it up, to be fair.
All of them need to go get support. Jane needs support. Will needs support. The kids need support. August needs support. Grandma needs support. Everybody needs it.
Very true. You know, I think
that grandma too.
Yeah, grandma needs support. I think that the whole family probably needs to. I would say go to family therapy. But
and then individual as well.
And individual therapy, because I think like this entire thing has to have had some repercussions in their families.
100%.
There's no way that could have happened. Like if you remember with Bill Clinton and when all that, like again, that was a family that they had to have had issues when their stuff came out, just because of how widespread it gets. So hopefully, I hope and pray but because they are a couple, but also because they're a black couple, and I like to see black people winning. Obviously, I like to see everybody winning, but you know, oppressed minorities especially. Yeah. But I'd like for them to come out of this stronger. and hopefully just work through their issues, whatever their issues may be. Even if they choose to have an open marriage, I think that actually going to therapy and understanding what the psychological and emotional implications of an open marriage are, because as far as I'm aware, there is some research, and I'll have to probably put these in the descriptions, but there are some research to show that people who are in open relationships and open marriages have the worst psychological and emotional well-being issues against people who are in monogamous relationships, just because of things like jealousy, then breeding depression or breeding anxiety, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, not that doesn't happen in monogamous relationships.
Well, this is the thing I was going to say.
Happen in open ones, because
your partner's doing it.
Pardon?
Sorry, babe.
I was about to say it's just more likely to happen in an open relationship because you know your partner is for sure doing something with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in a monogamous one, even if you have that inkling, it's like you might be able to find something that can ratify you or stop you from thinking that way. Do you get what I mean?
Because the point is to not go outside of that relationship.
Exactly.
The open relationship, the point is to include other people.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe even after that, you start thinking, what has that person got that I don't got?
Yeah. Definitely.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit of a deep one, but I guess everyone can let us know what they think about open relationships in general.
Yes. Definitely.
Are you saging? She's saging. Nikima's saging. Girl, you better clear that space. You better clear it.
Perhaps, because there's an energy that comes with talking with these topics, they're
Very
a little
true.
heavy, even though they seem common, maybe trivial at times, but they're very heavy because it's deep.
It is deep.
They're
stuff.
in the public eye. They have a responsibility, and it comes with pressure,
True, and maybe even that's part of it.
Yeah, it's okay that they have mental health issues, but they're not making it okay, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. To actually just by not discussing it or not really holding it, like being, and that's I think that's my thing about her not being accountable.
Yes.
So for anyone listening, let us know what you think about this particular scenario, and also open relationships, and also for those that are in an open relationship, tell us what it's like how did you come to that agreement and things like that. We're here to learn and to take steps, learn about new things, new experiences and things like that.
100%.
And for those that are in a monogamous relationship, why did you choose that?
Why didn't you choose an open relationship?
I
know why I didn't and why I wouldn't. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys. So you can either get at us on the YouTube channel by leaving a comment below, or you can get at us on the Instagram, which is Sweet Talk 777. I think that's pretty much it. I'm just trying to think, is there any other way to get us right now? But I think those are the main ones to get us at. There's a Twitter account, Sweet Talk 777 as well. 74, sorry. As well. So you can get at us at any one of those mediums and we will respond. If you've got any suggestions for future shows as well, then we'll also take those into account. We've got a couple that are coming up that have been requested. So we're looking I'm looking forward to doing a couple of them already. But yeah, so we'll get onto those as soon as possible. But thank you guys for joining us for this particular episode, and we will see you next week, hopefully. Bye-bye.
Bye.